And all conversation stopped the moment the angel appeared and said, "Greetings, humans." Its voice was mockery itself. The angel added, "You've come back once again today, I see." Everyone glared. They had no choice in the matter, and the angel knew it. It laughed, its wings spreading wide, saying, "Oh dear, there are fewer than 10,000 survivors across all zones. Last round was a bit tough, wasn't it? But don't worry, in a few more rounds, that number will drop to double digits in no time." One inquired, "Double digits? Are they insane?" The angel chuckled, delighted by their panic, and said, "Hoo. Well then, shall we see the quest? This one won't be too difficult, so relax. I mean it." It flapped its wings. A blinding light spread, forming glowing letters in the air. Round 13, raise the reputation of a race to very friendly within 10 hours. Multiple Unified Zone CA-EA001. Participants, 9,994. Completion, 0/4997. The crowd's gasps echoed through the void. Compared to the horrors of the Cave of Trials, this quest seemed deceptively simple. But while others fumbled in confusion, Ryu's lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. He thought, the easiest quest yet. I've already completed it. The quest of the 13th round sounded deceptively simple. For Ryu, it was by far the easiest quest compared to all the previous brutal challenges he had faced. He smirked faintly, his thoughts calm and confident. I've already completed it. Then, as if to confirm, the angel's voice rang out like a bell, echoing in the minds of all players. This round's quest is to raise your reputation with a race to very friendly. Compared to other rounds, this one is quite easy, don't you think? A murmur of confusion rippled among the players. Someone repeated, their brows furrowed. Very friendly? Another asked, blinking in disbelief. You could raise reputation? Most had no idea that such a system even existed. To them, races were either allies or enemies. Reputation had never been part of their survival strategy. Ryu, however, only gave a knowing smile, saying, if they've never raised it before, of course they wouldn't know. Long before this moment, he had already secured his ties with the elves, pushing their reputation to very friendly back in round 8. Not only that, he had raised 3 other races to the same level, and with the elves, his reputation had surpassed even that. He had reached the highest bond possible, the level of eternal ally. This was all thanks to a certain treasure, the Rune of Reputation, an artifact that boosted every reputation rank by 1. Because of this, he had nothing to fear in this round. His quest was already complete before it had even begun. Meanwhile, his followers, the 170 members of the Death God cult who had received his prior guidance, were in a different situation. Ryu said, I've already shown them the fastest quests to increase reputation. They'll survive as long as they follow what I taught them. The angel, unaware of the schemes playing out beneath the surface, continued to explain, their voice both instructive and urgent. You've done missions in fantasy worlds before where you had to complete side quests, right? It's the same idea. Completing side quests that appeal to certain races will raise your reputation with them, and as a bonus you'll receive experience, gold, and items as rewards, a player muttered, scratching their head. So, to raise reputation, we have to do side quests? Another concluded. Basically, we have to pick one race and spam their quests, the angel said. Of course, the difficulty of the quests will determine how much reputation and rewards you earn, so choose wisely. In conclusion, you have 10 hours to raise your reputation with a race to very friendly, or you won't survive. The crowd of players stiffened, and one said, they gave us 10 hours, so it must be tough to raise it that high. Another groaned, despair written all over their face. Ugh, this isn't going to be easy. Fear spread like wildfire. Most players felt as if they had been dropped into the middle of a raging sea without a boat, but the followers of the Death God cult did not share in that despair. Unlike the others, they already had a compass, Ryu's guidance. At least they knew which quests would quickly bring them to safety. The angel pressed on, saying, you won't have much time to waste. The faster you raise your reputation, the faster your name will appear on the survivor list. Of course, if someone has already completed the quest, they'll have 10 hours of free time. But there's no way someone could have done that yet. Oh? The angel's voice faltered. Their expression stiffened as her eyes darted toward the glowing survivor list, saying, hold on. Someone already completed it? They've already reached very friendly? A ripple of shock swept through the players. Although no name was mentioned, everyone knew exactly who it was. Ryu chuckled softly, his gaze steady and unshaken, saying to himself, that would be me. With that, he had secured 10 hours of absolute freedom. The angel, flustered, hurriedly shifted the topic, saying, well then, let's move on to choosing your starting location. Then a glowing window appeared before everyone's eyes. Please select the region where you would like to begin. +1, Albit's Kingdom, +2, Bram Kingdom, +3, the Holy Empire, +4, Elsorium. If you do not choose within the time limit, a location will be chosen for you randomly. Time remaining to choose, 0 hours, 0 minutes, 59 seconds. Panic spread once more as players agonized over their choices. Some looked like gamblers staring at a roulette wheel, uncertain of where to place their bets. But for the death god cult, there was no hesitation. Aged man no gay said firmly. We'll go ahead, Black Scythe, Co. Aaron added. Me too. Just as they were about to select, Minjuri raised her hand and called out urgently. Ah, wait, don't forget your buffs before you go. Her hands glowed as she cast her spells, wrapping her allies in layers of protection. One of them cheered. Thanks, democracy, another added gratefully. You're a lifesaver, she encouraged with a bright smile. Good luck, everyone. They returned her smile, exchanging words of encouragement before vanishing one by one into their chosen starting locations. When only Ryu remained, Minjuri turned to him and said, Black Scythe, you too. Here's your buff. He nodded. Thanks. A faint smile tugged at his lips as the magic enveloped him. He didn't truly need it, but in a survival game like this, even the smallest edge mattered. He added, you never know when the Archangel might show up again for revenge. The memory of Sariel's sudden appearance lingered. If it had happened once, it could happen again. As Jo Young-ho's mercenary group and Minjuri faded away, Ryu stood alone before the glowing list of regions. His mind was already made up. Option 4, Elsorium. The moment he touched it, the world around him dissolved. The gentle sound of birds filled the air as he reappeared in the heart of a dense forest. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, scattering golden rays across the ground. He inhaled deeply, saying, this is the place. His reason for choosing Elsorium was simple. He said, I need to obtain the rune fragments stored in the elves' treasure vault. For anyone else, the treasure would have been out of reach. But for someone with the bond of an eternal ally, the elves would welcome him with open arms, vault included. Even their princess herself would not object. After all, in Elsorium, the Council of Elders wielded true power, leaving the princess with little authority. Brushing aside the heavy foliage, Ryu pressed forward. His steps carried him to the edge of something unseen. He felt it before he saw it. A faint shift in the air, an invisible line waiting to be crossed. The moment his foot stepped over it, the forest vanished. In its place stood a breathtaking city of towering marble spires and radiant bridges. Elsorium, the hidden city of the elves, revealed at last. Ryu's eyes glimmered with admiration, saying, impressive. A rainbow-colored river shimmered beneath him as he crossed the bridge, approaching the grand entrance. But before he could take another step, 2 elven guards blocked his path. Their spears crossed menacingly. One demanded coldly, a human? What business do you have here? The other snapped, their sharp eyes glaring. Turn back at once! Despite their hostility, Ryu remained calm, his gaze steady as he waited. Then a message flickered before his eyes. The round's special ability, Translation, is currently active. You can now communicate with beings from other realms. All players can now speak and understand all languages. The guards barked again. Human! Are you deaf? We said turn back! Did you not hear us? But then, as they finally looked closer at his face, their words faltered. Their eyes widened in shock. One stammered, wait, are you Black Scythe, the warrior from another world? Ryu replied curtly. Isn't it obvious? The guard's demeanor changed instantly. They straightened and bowed deeply, their voices trembling with respect, saying, we deeply apologize for not recognizing you sooner, esteemed one. Please forgive our earlier rudeness. Their pride and arrogance had melted away in an instant. To them, this man wasn't just a visitor. He was an ally who had once saved their entire race. An eternal ally was treated as royalty, Ryu said with quiet authority. Enough. Fetch the council elders. I need to speak with them. One inquired, You wish to see the elders? Ryu replied, yes, I have some important matters to discuss. One said, please wait here. We will summon them immediately. The guards rushed off in a flurry, leaving Ryu standing tall at the gates. His eyes reflected a quiet satisfaction, the faint smile of a man who had already planned every move on the board. Ryu glanced at the distant warp gate and muttered under his breath. Had it been about 3 minutes already? Before his thought could settle, a sudden flash of light shimmered from the portal. Out of it rushed 5 figures, their robes fluttering as they panted heavily. It was them, the 5 elders, the hidden powers behind Elsorium. One of them clutched his chest, struggling for breath. Huff, huff, it's really him, the Black Scythe. Another elder's eyes widened, awe brimming in his voice, saying, "To think the Black Scythe himself would visit our elf village." Ryu couldn't help but find it amusing. This was their first time meeting him, yet they reacted as though they had known him forever. He read their thoughts with ease, confirming that this wasn't just vague recognition. They truly believed he was a hero. Ryo thought with a faint smile. Ah, that must be because I saved their princess back in the 8th round. It makes sense that my face would spread, but I didn't expect such a warm welcome. Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially.